Happy Motivational Monday. This is Anya Evanson coming at you from Åland, Finland once again. I have some very good news for you all today, and that is that we're going to actually be repainting this room that you are staring at right now. So that means you're not going to have to stare at this horrendous wallpaper with me anymore after like next week or sometime in the coming weeks. We're actually going to be repainting it neon green, so hopefully that'll be less distracting. I'm just kidding. We're painting it white. Anyways, in today's video, we're going to be talking about states. And I'm not talking about the 50 United States of America. Please do not ask me to name those. But what we are going to be talking about in today's video is going to be the state of your well-being and how rapidly and easily it is for you to change the state of your being, and also why and when it's important to be able to do so. Tony Robbins is actually the one that inspired me to make this video today, and it's something that he's talked about for a very long time that I heard him talk about in videos years ago that's really stuck with me ever since. I've noticed that when you're living with somebody, and especially for me right now during this time when I've been living with my parents, I have to be very conscious of the emotional state that I'm currently in at many given moments throughout the day. If I'm not, then it's easy for me to become a person that I'm not proud of, or be someone that my parents are not excited to be around 24/7. And that just makes everything in my day kind of just spiral into a worse and worse situation if I'm not careful. If you're like most people in the world right now, you might be in a situation as well where you're spending a lot more time than you're used to with your family or your spouse, your kids, or maybe even a roommate. And no matter how much you love them, this might be a little bit uncomfortable for you. And, we all need our space. And I think this might be a little bit of a extra hard time for us to actually get that space, even though we are social distancing AF, which is quite ironic. But as Tony says, good people in the wrong state can mess up a relationship. Meaning if we're frustrated or we're tired or we're hungry or we're stressed, just being in those types of states can really turn us into people that we're not proud of and that really are only affecting us on an emotional level, but we're allowing to kind of just transform us into whatever it is that we start becoming like when we're in these emotional states and when we choose to stay in these emotional states. His wife Sage said in a video with her and Tony that Tony says about her that I'm the most loving human being on the planet until I don't eat. Then I turn into Godzilla. I mean, how many of us can relate to that statement right there? When it comes to food or when it comes to coffee, it's like if we don't have those things, we can turn into a completely different person that is just not us. But Sage continues to say in that video that if we do and when we do find ourselves in that state where we're frustrated, or heck, maybe we're worrying about the future, what we need to do is we need to take a breath. We need to take a step back from what's happening in that moment and allow our physiology to change, like doing something actually physical, so that we're not bringing that, whatever frustrated state we're in, to the table when we are with our spouse or our boss or our kids or our friend or whoever it is. Hope this is all making sense so far. So first of all, I think it's very important for us to figure out when are we most susceptible to not being in a peak state, as in when do we get most annoyed or most frustrated, or when, what are our triggers basically? For me, I get most triggered in the morning. Like that's when I know that I can be most susceptible to becoming in a kind of not great state. So I like waking up in the morning, having my own kind of quiet time, journaling, eating my breakfast in peace, not thinking about all of my worries and just, being grateful, whatever. And now, being here with my parents for the time being, I have been getting up at the same time as them a lot. So we end up going downstairs and eating breakfast together. And, I'm actually a lot less talkative during that time. And my parents have, they know this and they're accepting of it. But my dad can sometimes start talking about all the negative things going on in the news. And my mom can start sometimes asking me a million questions and asking me, what am I doing with my day and when, and like trying to plan all these things. And those things can be huge triggers for me that can make me very irritable and make me very snappy and just put me, kind of in this negative energy field that I really don't want to be in around them, especially. So for me, this is very important because I've realized that I need to be extra conscious during these early morning hours of not accidentally becoming irritated, or just making sure that I'm doing things for me that in turn is doing things for them, right? So I might need to get up a little extra early to be able to go downstairs and journal by myself. I might need to just go on a long bike ride before I do anything, before I answer any questions or think about what I'm going to do with my day, because I just need to find that sense of stillness and inner peace and just be with myself before I can start, getting involved in all these conversations and doing all these things. So once you've figured out your triggers, it's very important to know, I think, next, what is going to help you put yourself in a better state, or in a peak state, if you can manage that. So like I mentioned earlier, I think changing your physiology, changing your physical state in some way or another is honestly the easiest way to change your state altogether. This is also why fitness is so huge for me, and why I would recommend fitness just for this reason alone. But because honestly, when I'm in the gym and when I'm working out, that always makes my day so much better, because it requires total concentration, total focus on what I'm doing. Even if it's something painful, the physical exertion that I'm creating with my body requires just all of my focus and all of my attention. And it might also just be a long bike ride in the morning, just listening to music, listening to my favorite songs, and just breathing in nature, fresh air. But doing something physical, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 15 minutes or an hour, can do wonders to your day. Something else radical that actually works really well for me is putting my body through extreme temperatures, whether that be hot or cold. So I love Bikram yoga for this reason. I feel absolutely amazing after going to Bikram yoga, which is the hot yoga that's 103 degrees, but also taking saunas or taking hot baths. And then the opposite end of the spectrum as well works really well. So I like taking cold showers, and cold plunging is actually something that really, really does wonders. And I would not recommend this for the faint of heart, and I would not recommend this if you have not even been practicing with cold showers. But Tony actually does this every day. He has a cold plunge tub at his house that's outside. That's I don't know how many degrees, but it's below 50. And every day he wakes up, he goes and jumps in that tub purely to put himself in this great state that you really do feel after you do something radical like that to your body. And he said during his seminar that I was at last, he said, "I don't give a shit if it feels good, I'm just gonna do it." So sure, it's not gonna be you're looking forward to this every single time that you need to change your state, but it's just something you need to do that's gonna put you in a higher vibration than what you are now. I'm going to conclude here with just a little story. The other day, I actually did a cold plunge here in Finland, and it's still very cold outside most days. And this was something I did in New Year's with my grandpa. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's a whole video about my first cold plunge in Finnish winter waters. Highly recommend you go check that out. But I've been meaning to keep doing these cold plunges since I got back from my grandpa's house during New Year's. But the other day, I finally decided to do it, because I woke up one morning and I was just feeling the anxiety creep up. I was just kind of walking around really antsy, and I was like, I just need to go jump in a cold body of water. So I put on my bathing suit, and it was the windiest day of the year here. I mean, seriously, when I went down to the water, the waves were crashing along the shoreline, and I haven't even seen that. We don't have waves here whatsoever in the lake that I swim in here. But I got down to the lake, took off my, 2 pairs of pants and my fleece sweater and my jacket, and I'm going into this water, and holy cow, it was so freaking cold. It was worse than it was when it was in January. And like I said, I would not recommend this for the faint of heart, but man, when I got out of that water, it was like I was a new human being. I mean, my cells were just bouncing with life, and for the rest of the day, I had this laser focus concentration. I could have gone to the library and just studied for 6 hours straight, because I was so in the present moment. So guys, that's my Motivational Monday video for the week. This week, think about your state, think about what are your triggers, and think about how you can get yourself into a peak state when you do find yourself kind of in these negative situations, because Sure, we're all going to experience them. Sure, they're going to keep coming back no matter what, but it's just up to us how long we choose to stay there and what we choose to do about them. You always have more control over your emotions than you think. So, hope y'all have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to go check out the rest of my videos if you did find this one inspiring. I will be back next Monday with more content. Until then, stay motivated, stay peaceful. Namaste.